Channel. Got an early video out for tomorrow's college football games. We only have two games, but they're big ones. We got Liberty against New Mexico State, and then we got Washington against Oregon. Both games playing for the respectfully conference championship. Washington and Oregon, it's going to be good. We got Washington undefeated. They did beat Oregon early in the season by a field goal. And then we got Liberty going undefeated as well, playing against New Mexico State, who they beat early in the season as well. If you're taking money line, I am taking Liberty to go undefeated and get a good bowl selection. As far as Washington and Oregon, that's going to go down to the wire. I see an upset here. I think everybody has Washington to finish an undefeated season since they're ranked number 3 in the nation. I don't think they're going to get past Oregon. I think Oregon is going to flip the script and win by a field goal. So in this case, I'm going to be taking Bo Nix as my first pick. In the first game against Washington, he had over 335 yards. Here he is listed at 326. Big reason why I'm doing the video early as well. I think these players are going to get bumped significantly. So Bo Nix first at 326.5. I'm taking the more. His fantasy score is a little bit too high for me. I'm scared of some of the interceptions. It's going to hurt his fantasy. So I'm going to go with his passing yards because he has a ceiling of 500 yards. But I think this game he's going to have about 400 yards and a couple touchdown passes. But I'm going to go with his passing yards. I'm going to just stick with that basic. Next up is another Oregon player. And instead of taking, obviously, the top receivers like Troy Franklin or Tess Johnson, I'm going to take Terrence Ferguson, tight end. But I'm going to take his receptions. In his last matchup, he had 5 against Washington. He is at 3. I like this. I think he's going to have way more than 3. And if worst case scenario is push equity. But I think Troy Franklin and Tess Johnson are going to be well covered by Washington's defense. So I think it's going to hurt their yardage. As you can see, some of the receivers are over 100. Troy Franklin's at 109. Both receivers did go over 100 yards barely against Washington last time. But I think they're going to be covered more, given that Washington's trying to finish this season undefeated. And they are ranked number 3 in the nation. I think they're trying to get maybe a better seeding at number 2, possibly 1. But I don't think Washington is going to cover these 2 wide receivers or let these guys beat them. So I'm going to take Terrence and Ferguson as the primary weapon, one of the primary weapons for Oregon. And then we're going to move on to Rome Odunze, top wide receiver for Washington. He had over 130 yards last time they met. I believe it was close to 130 yards. He did have a couple touchdowns. But for him, I'm going to be taking his fantasy score because he is a top receiver for Washington. I think he's going to go off. I think he's going to go past 30, to be honest with you. And then with Jalen Polk and with another top receiver for Washington, they're still up in the air. It's to be determined if they're going to play or not. But I still think Rome's going to go off and it's going to be the primary target. Now we're going to move on to the Liberty in New Mexico. And next up, we're going to go with Diego Pavia, New Mexico's QB. And I'm going to be taking his rushing yards at 36.5. He had over 65 yards last time they faced Liberty. He's not much of a passer. He runs the ball. He gets about 60, 70 yards as a QB. I mean, it reminds me of a Lamar Jackson. But I have him going over against Liberty. And then my next pick will be Liberty's QB. And he is more of a passer. And I'll be taking Kaidon Salter. And I'll be taking his fantasy at 21.5. He has a ceiling of 40. He runs the ball a little bit better than Diego. As you can see, his rushing yards at 49.5. He has a ceiling of 90. As you can see, he had a couple games where he went over 100. I mean, it's pretty insane how football has changed and QBs run the ball more now. But I'm taking his fantasy score at 21.5. I think he's going to have over 30. He has a ceiling of 40, 45. So those are my top 5 picks for tomorrow's 2 big games for college football. Bo Nix and Terrence Ferguson. Rome Odunze, Diego Pavia, and Kaidon Salter at 21.5. So hopefully you guys get these lines. I'm pretty sure 4 of these 5 are going to get bumped by tomorrow. I think a lot of people, or majority of the public, are focusing on Tess Johnson and Troy Franklin. But I'm going to take the underrated guy, Terrence Ferguson. I think a lot of people are overlooking him. and I think he's going to have a sneaky good game. So good luck. Please like, subscribe, and comment. I appreciate the support, and hopefully we do have a perfect slip like last week for college football. I will have another video out for Saturday's games. See you guys in the next one.